Today's topic is having a death wish. Basically, it's, people who want to have suicide or commit suicide. However you call it, it means checking out, okay? Bottom line, that's it. Okay, so truthfully, almost everybody on the entire planet has had a time, at least once, where they have felt like they didn't want to be here. And it's not just the feeling like I don't want to be here, it's more like I really want to leave. I don't want to be here anymore, I'm done, I can't handle it. And most people won't do anything to make that happen. And sometimes, we go into a really deep depression. And I remember as a kid, 12 years old, thinking I could will myself to die. I was one of those that, thought about suicide. So at 12 years old, I would lay on the floor in my bedroom and literally command the body to leave, to die. Obviously, it didn't work. I'm still here. So I know because I work with thousands of people, and it just depends on what's happening in a person's life, but some people can handle a lot, and other people cannot. Some people, they can have a traumatic experience, like for example, someone who's had a car accident and maybe caused the death of someone else, don't even know that person. The guilt, the feelings, the horror that they live with becomes unbearable. They can go to counseling, they can do all kinds of things, but they can't let it go. And when they're tormented and tortured like that, it wears on your psyche, it wears on your whole being. And then we have just situations where people have grown up in environments that were really intense, really miserable, really uncomfortable, horrific, and they too feel like they just can't keep going. Another thing that happens is when you've had illnesses or things that have caused physical pain in your body, and there's no end in sight, and you yeah. So after a while, it's like, as with everything, you can only handle so much. And after a while, it's like, you're done. And it doesn't matter how many people in your life love you. It doesn't matter if you've got children or you've got your parents or you've got beloveds, you've got spouses or really good friends. You reach a point where you can't handle it anymore. And the big thing that I hear all the time is other people, when they know someone who is in misery or they're worried about someone who's their friend is going to check out or whatever. And it's like people often think, well, how can anybody do that? How can anybody ever think about taking their own life? How many people here have ever had excruciating pain that didn't stop? Yeah, for long periods of time. When that was happening, were you wanting to be here? Mm-hmm. So if that were to continue for years, and there was no stopping it, after a while it's like you're done. Okay? And another thing too, it's like even in I don't know if people ever saw that movie What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams. It was about people dying, death, and it showed the hell. It was really cool because when I saw that movie, it was like, whoa. Somebody really saw these things because everything was really true and real. So if you don't know, watch the movie. The only thing that wasn't true was his wife killed herself, and she was stuck in some kind of place that they indicated that you'll never come out of. That's not true. Okay? And here's the bad news. Whatever you were facing this lifetime is coming back around because you didn't unravel it. Okay? So if you had physical pain or you had emotional pain, you're going to have it again, or something that's going to cause you to have to face whatever it is you're trying to unravel. Remember, your coming into this lifetime is not your first incarnational experience. Everything you're experiencing right now is a culmination of many past life experiences. And if you don't unravel the emotional pain of that, you will continue to recycle. And that's what we're all up against, is we got the recycling over and over and over until we finally clear out all of the energies in the body. And right now, because of so many lifetimes, our bodies are just full of past traumas and shock and pain and suffering and just all these really dark, heavy feelings. And most people don't realize that this is happening because you didn't unravel the past. Okay, I've talked about this many times. You'll get it eventually, but you're unraveling hundreds of past lives. Losses, loss of beloveds, betrayals, abandonments, rejections, judgments, all the feelings that make us afraid to just truly be who we are. And when we have all of that energy in our energy field, we're going to create something to bring it forward in this lifetime. So when people hit that point where they just feel like they can't take it anymore, some people, like I said, some people can only handle so much, other people can handle a lot, and excruciating horrors for long, long periods of time. And other people, they get whacked one time and they're shocked, I'm out of here, I can't handle it, okay? So the truth is, it doesn't really matter, you people. I'm going to tell you straight up. Nothing really matters, all right? The only thing that really matters is it matters to you. As a being, things matter to you. But in time, everything goes away. Everything changes. 50 years from now, most people won't even be here. And if you think that people are going to remember you, guess what? How many times have you seen a picture of someone from your past that you didn't know who that was, you never saw them, they don't have any meaning to you, and yet you'll have words on the back of the picture, saying wonderful things about this person or whatever. It means nothing to you. Well, that's what's going to happen to you. So what? Okay, so basically, people that want to check out, the main thing though is if we can clean up the pain and trauma that's inside, and even though they might be having physical pain, and even though there might be emotional things going on, if we can clean things up, it makes it more possible to live here and be here and show up here and want to be here and not continually have that desire to be gone. I mean, I know firsthand many of these things I talk about. I had physical pain, sciatica for 27 years. It's a long time. Sometimes it was excruciating, debilitating. I had leg atrophy, things like that. Other times, most of the time, it was just a constant pain that you just live with. But when it would kick in, if you've ever had sciatica, it's excruciating. Okay? So, I had many times of thinking, I can't do this anymore. And, it's like we do what we do, and then we show up. And I think for some people too, a lot of people probably would check out if they didn't have beloveds. If they didn't have their children, or perhaps it's their parents, or perhaps it's an animal, their little dog or their cat, something that they don't want to leave behind. I think a lot more people really would not be here if in fact they didn't have something or someone to hold on to. I had my children, I had my daughter, I had my son, I had, family. And there were many times where I was like, the pain, I don't know if I can do this anymore. So, it's like whatever we live with, if we've got support, if we've got help, if we've got people that matter, the odds are we're going to hang, we're going to stay. And then you have people that it's just like I have, like people that are, I have a lot of people that like drug addicts, really intense physical things happen, and they don't want to be here. And I think too, it's like, what is your quality of life? What's it really like to be in excruciating pain or deep, deep, deep depression that no matter what, even taking antidepressants and drugs that help try to pull you out of these things, if none of these are working, what is your quality of life? And since it doesn't really matter, and who knows, maybe that was part of what was meant to happen in this lifetime. Maybe there's all these lessons for all the ones left behind of people who have taken their life. My kid's dad killed himself, took his life. I understand why. He was a heroin addict. He became a heroin addict after we separated. He couldn't get together. He tried to get off, couldn't get off, so he checked out. And, the damage left behind is where, the ones left that are still alive, that are facing all of these excruciating, painful emotions, they're the ones who are now suffering. If you really love someone and they decide to leave, that creates a different feeling than if somebody died because of an illness or a disease or even an accident. There's something different when a beloved takes their life. We take it really personal. We really feel like how could they do that? How could they leave us? How could they leave me? And how could they leave their family? Or, there's all these feelings. And then also it's like, what could I have done? What could I have done better? How could I have made it different for them? So the people left behind, that's where now the trauma is. So now they're left with all these horrible feelings. And unfortunately, some people, it's just the human psyche is so fragile in some ways and so strong in other ways. But even people that have lost a beloved, that were married or getting married or connected to someone and the person decided to check out. And sometimes they never get over it. The ones left behind, the beloved left behind, never gets over it. What happens is the heart closes down. Now there's fear to open the heart, fear to love, because that feeling of loss is so extreme. And we close the heart, and then we can't let anybody else in. So, some people literally live for the rest of their lives totally alone, lonely, in deep despair and loss, and never goes away. That's why clearings are so vital. Because in a clearing, when we do clearings with people, it doesn't matter what the issue is. We can help to unravel and eliminate, sometimes alleviate or completely eliminate some of the pain, some of the anguish, some of the feelings, all the different feelings that happen inside. So, it's like getting a clearing is like vital. I've had people who've been married like over almost 50 years, 30 years. I've had a lot of people that have lost their beloveds. And in one clearing, prior to the clearing, they were almost like dysfunctional, crying, couldn't let go, constantly thinking of the person, excruciating pain. After one clearing, it's not that they don't still miss them, and it's not that they don't love them. That doesn't change. And yet the intensity of the pain absolutely is changed. So if in fact you were able to eliminate or even alleviate some of the intensity, how much easier would life be? Would you be more willing to stay, or more willing to just keep showing up in life, be in the world? So people that leave the planet, choosing to leave the planet, basically traumatize so many people. It's astounding how many people are affected. Even friends that maybe you haven't seen them for years, and all of a sudden you hear about this friend killing themselves, and it's like a shock. Okay, so we're all programmed to survive. We're programmed to live. So anytime a body dies, everyone that's connected to that person has some kind of feeling, some kind of emotion, some kind of feeling of loss. Okay, so we can know all these things. We can know we have all these past incarnations. We're going to live again. When we die, we're going to go meet all our people in the light. We'll be reunited. Yeah, that sounds great. But guaranteed, the moment you lose somebody, that all goes out the window. None of that really matters. All you're feeling is this excruciating loss. So, like I said, clearings are like really, really, really important. So, like I said earlier, most people at some point have felt that desire or felt like they didn't want to be here anymore, felt like giving up, felt like it's just too much. And then they go through periods where things get better and it's all A-okay, but that feeling still lives inside. Partly because when you have that feeling, when you've disconnected or when you have a lot of emotional pain, remember you're letting other things come into you. So whatever your frequency is, whatever you're vibrating, whatever the frequency that the energy that you're sending out, the brain waves, the emotional waves, you're attracting and pulling in all these energies of the same feelings. I've actually had entities inside of people's bodies of people that did kill themselves hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago. Because once they do that, often there's that belief that, you've done something wrong or bad, and you're not going to go home into the light, so now you get stuck on the earth plane, and now you're not evolving. Now you're stuck in this limbo state because you're no longer reincarnating, you're not growing, you're not evolving, and you're stuck. You're stuck in this consciousness. So people that have other people inside of them that do also have the feeling or desire to take their own lives, that didn't want to be here, you're going to have those inside of you. You're going to have the thought forms, because it's also an energy of thought form. There's like if you just imagine that every human being at some point had at least one time, maybe hundreds, maybe even more times where they felt like they wanted to not be here, they felt like it was too much. Well, those thought forms and those frequencies are it's like anything in the air. You're breathing it, you're taking it in. And it attaches to you if you've got that energy inside. So getting a clearing, and what we're doing today, is also going to start to unravel some of this energy, so that if you are prone to that kind of feeling, if that's the default when things get really tough, then it'll help with that. It'll help, that will no longer be where you go when you can't handle things anymore. And for those who don't really have that kind of tendency, or that's not their default, and yet they can go into feelings of despair or anguish, some of that is actually coming from the energies inside that are contributing to that feeling, despair. Because that's, usually if you're really in a good space, unless you're totally enlightened, you're not going to be checking out. There's no reason to. And the energy that's in the body, everyone has it. This is my point. So even though some people say, oh, well, this isn't my kind of clearing, I don't really need this kind of clearing, well, I think you do. I think everybody does. Because everybody goes through times, really low periods. Last time we did the thing on the fear of the unknown, and it took us all the way into feeling forsaken. Well, there's still going to be some of that kind of feeling too, and anybody who's feeling like they don't want to be here anymore. They're going to feel like creation, the all that is, Creator, God itself, has forsaken us. We're going to hit those deep places. So it's like a really deep unraveling that, like I said, it's like everyone has it on some level. And even if you don't really go to the point of feeling like, man, I just don't want to be here anymore, I think I just want to check out, I give up, take me home, get me out of here, beam me up, Scotty, kind of thing, It's like anything to not be here. But even still, there's still a quality, because I can see it, there's still a quality of like a depression and a sadness. Okay, so that's why as I'm kind of scanning right now, I see that inside of everyone's energy field. It's like if you actually really sit with your own self for a moment, like let's just do this right now, okay?